Hi, my name is Bennett Green, and I am adopted. I was born and raised in Ethiopia until about the age of 11. I was the oldest of four. I was raised by my mom's side of the family until my mom passed away at the age of 5, giving birth to our youngest brother. Life is a bit crazy, but I'm just gonna tell you a little bit more about myself in this video.
In my culture, when someone dies, we don't wear black. We don't just have one gathering. It's kind of like a week long, or sometimes it can even be longer than that. I feel like mourning period where you take care of the mourning family, like you're there for them, you cook, you just take care of their kids and stuff. So that's kind of like what they did when my mom passed away. I don't remember much, but I do have glimpse memories of what it was like growing up with my mom's side of the family, little fun moments. I had this purple dress, I remember that. It was different. And after my mom passed away, I never really saw my mom's side of the family except for one cousin that would sometimes come to Asosa, which was where my dad's side of the family lived and where we went after what happened to my mom. So the four of us, including our baby brother, we went to live with my grandma, my dad's mom, and she lived in Asosa, and my grandma tried her best to keep him well, take care of him, but he randomly got sick and he died. That was very sad. I don't remember much. I don't even remember his name. I mean, I can find out what his name is, but I feel like that's so traumatic. I don't know, I might ask my cousin what his name was. We don't really talk about that period in our life. So my dad started working in a different town. So he's working for this company, and he would come to Asosa, visit us, and his mom would take care of us. Our grandma would take care of us. She's really sweet. But whenever he would come to town, he would whistle, and I knew he was around the corner or in town whenever I would hear him whistle. So I'd run. I remember this one time I was I was carrying my little cousin on my back, and I heard him whistle, and I'm like, gotta drop you. I'm gonna run right now. And I ran over to go see him, and anytime he would leave, he would give me money, and my friend and I would go to the corner store, and we would get these bubble gums, and they had FIFA players, soccer players tattoos, and sometimes we put them on the door. I feel like if you were raised where I was raised, or if you if they had that in where you lived, you would understand what I'm talking about. It's literally you put them in the front door with the metal doors. We would put them on there, and that was the best day ever. Whenever we could do that, we would get Ronaldo, Ronaldinho and stuff, and we put them on there. And anytime we had cash, we would go to the corner store, get some of our favorite treats, and just have fun. I remember this one friend I had, and I would call her Drogba because she reminded me of Drogba, her hair and everything. She would always have it slicked back, jet black, and I'd be like, "You're like Drogba," and her nickname was that. She was my neighbor, and they had a house, and they had the house in the center, and then they had like a back house, and then they had apartments, and those apartments they would rent out, and they had a mango tree behind the apartments, and we would climb that anytime it was mango season, and we would have it. It's so good. It's like nice and juicy, so good. Good memories there. I still didn't understand what death was. It happened, but like I didn't really understand it. Like I didn't fully grasp it. Like I don't remember any like emotion. Like I don't remember how I actually felt in the time. I just remember like flashes of things, and I remember like when, for example, like my grandma died after my baby brother, and she was like a mother figure to us, and she took care of us. She was always there. I don't even remember ever getting in trouble by her. She always did this like little pout thing when she would clean. Like she had a little scar like right here, and she would like pout her mouth like a certain way whenever she was cleaning. And sometimes I catch myself do that, and I'm like, oh, I think of her. When she passed away, our dad came and was like, you know what, you guys are gonna like live with me. So we went and lived with him. Like our dad wasn't like absent, he just had to work, and we knew that. Like he loved us, we loved him. It was great. He was always present. He would always like make sure we were taken care of, make sure we had food, make sure we had clothes, make sure we felt loved, and like celebrated us for our birthday and stuff. He cooked for us, he fed us, he clothed us. He was like our mom and dad. Where he worked, it was like close to my school, so anytime I was on break, I would go to where he worked, and how to have hot milk and little treats with him, some sambusa, and we would just talk and laugh. And I remember this one time I had taken a test, and he was out in the building, like he got out of his office and he saw me, and I told him that like I did really good. I was like, I got it perfect. He was really happy. But then one day he got sick, and he died. Well, they took him to the hospital in Asosa. And then I remember like he went to the hospital, and then we had to go to Asosa, and I was kind of like confused. I kind of was like, I didn't know what was going on, what was happening. Yeah, and then I went to my grandma's house, because that's where somebody was living there. One of my uncles, yeah, they were living there. And it was kind of like the same thing like when my mom passed away. Like everybody was sad, and they were hugging me, and like I do remember like feeling loved. Like I was cared after, and I remember I saw like my mom's best friend that I hadn't seen in years, and seeing her like made me really happy. So I can't believe I'm crying right now. After that, we never went to where where we previously lived with my dad. We never went back there. He actually had a restaurant there, and he apparently had a wife. I blocked that part of my life with her because she was very traumatizing woman. She like did not understand me. She did not get me at all. She would get so mad at me. She would hit me. Yeah, she was very intense. But I remember going to church. We didn't go to a Christian church when we were with my dad. We went to like a Orthodox, like very traditional Ethiopian church. And I remember I did my first fast, and he was like really proud of me. And I remember that. And I remember where the church was. I remember where the church was compared to where I lived. My best friend at the time was the daughter of like the priest. And then one day we had a fight. Yeah, that was sad. But the funny thing was my dad stood up for me because those kids were like throwing rocks at me. And this is bad to say, but my dad threw rocks back at them because I was so confused as to what was going on. And he was like, what's going on? And he saw them throwing rocks from their backyard to our backyard. And he was like, no. And he threw rocks at the kids to like shoo them off. And they did. So that's like the type of person my dad was. It didn't matter who you were, he was like gonna defend his kids. He was very sweet. After my dad passed away, it was kind of like it's hard to like talk sometimes about it because I'm like, I never like really processed the amount of death that occurred in my life. Even I'll get to it, but like it never occurred to me, like I never remember feeling like sad or anything until I was adopted. And how I got adopted was my mom, she went to coffee with one of her friends and she saw the twins photo. She was like, I love these kids, I need them in my life, I feel like I'm meant to be their mother. So she went home and showed the photos to my dad. They were only supposed to adopt one. They were only planning on adopting one kid, and then it turned into two, and then it turned into three. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So after my dad had passed away, we lived in Asosa. I went with my aunt, my little brother, little sister. They're twins. So the boy went with I think he was the second oldest uncle, and he looked a lot like my dad. He looked a lot like my dad, so he went with him. And then he was really nice, and he also like adopted other kids, and he was taking care of them, and he also had his kids, so he had a lot of like kids he was helping and taking care of. But he was really sweet, very kind. And my little sister, she went with our other uncle, and eventually she ended up coming and living with me because it was just too much for her over at the other family. So yeah, we lived there for a little while, and they put my younger siblings up for adoption. And I was really sad. Honestly, I think the first time I experienced like true sadness and like heartbreak that I like remember was when I had to say goodbye to them, when I dropped them off at the orphanage to be taken to the capital. I was so sad and I was crying. I'm not gonna talk much about that night because like I actually cry on camera and I don't want to do that. So we dropped them off, and I was very sad, but I just had to, like, I kept telling myself that they're gonna have a better life and like this is what they need, and like their happiness and their safety is more important than anything else in the world. to me. So yeah, so they went to the adoption agency, and they were there, and then I was added. I don't know why they decided to do that. I guess they probably were like, she cannot cook, she cannot clean, she is not a good lady. Yeah, I think I was just too stubborn, to be honest. It's not, I do believe like they wanted to keep us all together, but also I was not gonna clean, I was not gonna cook, I was not gonna do anything besides go to school and, you know, go play soccer, have fun with my friends, you know, like be a child. So they also put me up for adoption, and I went to the same place as my younger siblings. And in the orphanage, life was easy, it was sweet. I played solitaire. That was the first time I think I had ever like played on a computer. We watched SpongeBob, we watched Shaun the Sheep. I love Shaun the Sheep. Yeah, it was, people were really kind. They always like gave me extra food. They were so sweet. Yeah, but it was amazing to like be with my siblings and like play with them, fight with them, you know. And I also like helped out with the little kids. Upstairs they had like little infants, the infants, and I would change their diapers and help them out, be with them, and then go downstairs and like take some English courses. I remember like learning my ABCs, learning the colors. Yeah, and then we met our parents. So one day they were like, oh, here's a gift box, and we opened it and we saw who our mom and dad were gonna be, and like our family photos. Well, their family, my family, like in America, they sent like a photo album, and we got to see like my cousins, like their house and the street, like the map and everything. It was so sweet. And then they came and we spent like a week with them. We went to, I remember I was so excited to have pizza because I always saw it in cartoons, and I'm like, I can't wait to have pizza. And we did that, and then we went and got ice cream. Yeah, we went and got ice cream. We went with I think this was the first time they came. We went with my dad to get ice cream, and I got mint chocolate chip. And I literally walked out the store, took one leg, and it fell on the floor. And it was sad, but he went back and got me a new one, and it was all good. It was good. We had a great week. It was like, it felt like he was meant to be my dad and she was meant to be my mom. And I remember like the first time I saw my dad, I was like, oh my gosh, she reminded me so much of my dad. And it didn't feel like forced or awkward. And I like find little similarities between them. Yeah, we flew all the way to America, a long journey. But I was also like sad because I felt guilty, and like I felt very much like, why me? And I was sad as to why like my little brother didn't get this opportunity, and why he didn't live, and like, but I was always like really conflicted about it because I'm like, I don't feel like the best person. I don't feel like I was deserving of the gift. Grief, it's a journey. That's one thing I would say is like, when someone dies, just because you don't like cry or or like the emotion that you feel when they're dead in that moment, you know, it's not going to be like that, you know, like you will be sad one day and you'll be happy the next, and then you think about them, and then life goes and you're like, I didn't think about them today. Yeah, that's another thing. Like, I would sometimes feel bad that I didn't think about my dad, or that I didn't think about my grandma, my brother, my mom, or like my grandpa, my, you know, all those people. I would feel sad, and I would pray, like, forgive me, like, I feel bad. My grandparents. Oh yeah, and I didn't even talk about like my dad's dad dying. He was such a sweet man. And yeah, like literally I met him one summer, the next he was dead. That was crazy. And he was just like my dad. He literally looked like my dad. I mean, he was so sweet. I didn't even talk about my mom's grandma, my mom's mom dying. I didn't talk about that. It's just like one after the other. Death. You know? It's a lot. And I'm gonna stop talking because I think this video is going to be longer than I expected. And I don't want it to be a depressing video. But yeah, I love all the people, all of the things that have happened. I know some are sad, but I love being Ethiopian. I love that I'm adopted. I am grateful and I'm thankful that what God has provided and what God has given me. But yeah, if you like this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I don't know why, but that brought me back to like, you know, like 2016, like 2015, when like bloggers would be like, yeah. Okay.